Okay, today I'm going to talk about a virgin. Does that get your attention? All right, sorry to let you down, but this particular virgin I'm going to talk about is extra virgin olive oil, which is a type of oil which, if you're interested in health, you should include it in your diet. Uh, Extra virgin olive oil is different from other kinds of olive oil. There's different grades of olive oil. You have regular olive oil, then there's virgin olive oil, and then there's extra virgin olive oil. Of these choices, extra virgin olive oil is by far the most nutritious. And the reason is because it contains a number of unique polyphenol compounds which act as antioxidants and do several other important things in the body. The extra virgin olive oil is a key factor in what's called the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet emphasizes foods like fish, nuts, fruits and vegetables, a little bit of red wine, and a good amount of extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is thought to be a key factor of the diet, why it's so healthy. In fact, according to medical studies, the Mediterranean diet that I just described is the only diet known to extend longevity and possibly, or more than possibly, have a very good chance of preventing most degenerative diseases, including cardiovascular disease and cancer. Some of the longest lived people in the world generally eat using a Mediterranean style pattern. Like, for example, on the island of Sardinia, which is off Italy, you bodybuilding fans might remember that this is the homeland of Franco Colombo, who is a Mr. Olympia winner. But that particular island features a lot of people that are over age 100. They're not sure whether it's directly related to the diet or whether there's a genetic factor. But the truth of the matter is most of these people follow the general pattern of the Mediterranean diet. I'm going to have an extensive, huge article on the Mediterranean diet, how to use it, how to adopt it for your needs. This is going to be in my Applied Metabolics newsletter. I'm going to have a lot of information on this particular type of eating pattern, which is not available elsewhere. It's going to be in simple English. And this is probably the healthiest diet you could possibly eat. But let's concentrate today on extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil, the fatty acids in extra virgin olive oil are almost all what they call monounsaturated fatty acids. One of the main fatty acids is called oleic acid. I have some also other information I'm going to write up. Preliminary animal studies show that oleic acid, when you give it to rats and mice, it completely rehabilitates the aging problems associated with muscle protein synthesis. In simple terms, supplementing, for example, extra virgin olive oil to these lab animals allows their muscles to utilize protein just as well when they're much older as when they are much younger. So it'd be the human equivalent of a person about 65 being able to have the same level of muscle protein synthesis as somebody 19. And I quickly add there's not a lot of evidence for this in humans yet, but it works very well in rats. Now, concerning some of the health effects of extra virgin olive oil, one study found that the risk of a heart attack in men and women was 82% lower in those who ingested 4 tablespoons a day of extra virgin olive oil compared to those who ingested half a tablespoon. Olive oil is a source of at least 30 phenolic compounds. Now, these phenolic compounds are basically antioxidant. Some texts list 30, some list 36, but the point is there's literally dozens of these unique antioxidants that are found in extra virgin olive oil. It also includes some standard antioxidants such as vitamin E, apigenin, and a couple of flavonoids. And a very interesting fact about extra virgin olive oil is that only extra virgin olive oil actually contains melatonin. Melatonin might be familiar to you. It's produced in the human body in the pineal gland, which is right about here, in the right behind here in the brain, the center over there. Used to be called the third eye, and the pineal gland I'm talking about. It produces melatonin at night. Melatonin is involved in the sleep process. Many people, including myself, use melatonin as a sleep aid. It's also a tremendous antioxidant, and it has a number of health benefits, which I also will be discussing in my Applied Metabolics newsletter. Another study of 2,000 Greek men and women, average age 50, showed, get this, a 92% decreased risk of cardiovascular disease if extra virgin olive oil were the only source of fat. In other words, in this study, the people actually cut out all saturated fat, all of the kinds of fat, and their only source of fat was extra virgin olive oil. And the study showed I'm not sure how long the study went on, but these people showed a 92% decrease of cardiovascular disease, which is absolutely amazing. There's no pharmaceutical drug on the market, including statins or any of the other drugs, can even come close to matching that. That's incredible. A study of women that compared the weight loss effects of extra virgin olive oil to soybean oil resulted in twice as much weight loss in the extra virgin olive oil group. Now, I should also point out monounsaturated fats such as oleic acid are also found in egg yolks. In fact, it's the predominant fat in egg yolks. Now, what's the significance of this? A lot of bodybuilders avoid egg yolks because they're afraid of the fat content. What they don't realize is monounsaturated fat, in comparison to saturated and even polyunsaturated fat, is rapidly oxidized when you work out. It's rapidly oxidized. It has much less chance of staying or becoming body fat. Now this, of course, if you don't exercise, it's a different situation. Then it becomes just a normal fat, and an excess of extra virgin olive oil or any other type of monounsaturated fat, can produce fat because it's an excess of calories. And fat is the densest sort of source of calories at 9 per gram compared to 4 for carbohydrate and 4 for fat. Another feature of extra virgin olive oil is it has a number of features. It actually has very potent antibacterial effects. Studies have shown that extra virgin olive oil is capable of killing off the Helicobacter pylori organism or bacteria, which is responsible for ulcers and stomach cancer. Extra virgin olive oil also can destroy E. coli, which is another type of bacteria commonly associated with intestinal infections. It can also destroy Staphylococcus aureus, which is the actual organism which causes the dreaded flesh-eating disease that was around a couple of years ago. It also destroys Listeria, which is a common food poisoning organism. It also destroys Salmonella, which is also involved in so-called food poisoning. And it even destroys Candida albicans, better known as yeast. So this is only extra virgin olive oil. It's not found in virgin olive oil or any other kind of oil. Only extra virgin olive oil has that property. And as I said, it's the extra virgin olive oil is an integral part of the Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet has been shown in many, many studies to lower the risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, and to maintain healthy blood pressure and blood lipid levels such as cholesterol and triglyceride. As a matter of fact, some of the polyphenols in extra virgin olive oil actually combine, or let's say they associate with low-density lipoprotein in the bloodstream. What's the significance of that? Low-density lipoprotein is the type of cholesterol carrier that carries cholesterol in the blood. When low-density lipoprotein gets oxidized, it's involved in the process of atherosclerosis, which can lead to cardiovascular disease. And the point being, some of these polyphenols found in extra virgin olive oil actually interact with low-density lipoprotein, preventing its oxidation, and that alone will go a long way towards preventing cardiovascular disease. Now, the other studies show that extra virgin olive oil reduces the risk of colon and other types of cancer. I'd go so far as to say one of the key, if not key element of the Mediterranean diet is the consumption of extra virgin olive oil. Of course, the other nutrients, the various antioxidants found in the foods that constitute the Mediterranean diet also play a big role, but extra virgin olive oil is what's really unique about it. The oleic acid, that's the main monounsaturated fatty acid found in extra virgin olive oil, it increases insulin sensitivity. By doing so, it helps to prevent type 2 diabetes, which right now is appearing in epidemic proportion throughout the world. One study of pre-diabetic is defined as somebody who doesn't have full-blown type 2 diabetes, but is showing glucose abnormalities such as elevated resting glucose levels and elevated resting insulin levels. Anyway, a study of these pre-diabetics showed that consuming just 1 tablespoon of olive oil with a meal led to blood glucose rises of less than half of what occurs without consuming the oil. So that alone, again, if a pre-diabetic consumes extra virgin olive oil, and of course he has to exercise and, let's say reduce carbohydrate intake. There's other things you have to do, but that will go a long way towards helping the person prevent full-blown type 2 diabetes from coming into play. And type 2 diabetes is a terrible disease. I think it's right now the 5th leading cause of death. It leads to amputations, blindness, kidney failure, on and on. You want to do everything you can to prevent type 2 diabetes. A review of 33 studies showed that ingesting 15 to 20 grams, which is about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil, reduced the risk of diabetes by 13%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, it makes a difference. Extra virgin olive oil contains a substance called oleocanthal that provides similar anti-inflammatory effects to the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug ibuprofen. And in the same manner, in other words, ibuprofen and this oleocanthal stuff both work by inhibiting the activity of an enzyme called cyclooxygenase, and that enzyme converts the omega-6 fatty acid arachidonic acid into inflammatory prostaglandins that cause pain and inflammation. Now, however, only small amounts of this substance exist in extra virgin olive oil, and 3.5 tablespoons provide only 10% of the effect of a normal dose of ibuprofen. So this stuff isn't this oleocanthal stuff, it's not a full substitute for ibuprofen, but on the other hand, it does provide anti-inflammatory effects, and unlike ibuprofen and other drugs, it has 0 side effects, and it is not associated with any other health problems. Some studies even suggest that extra virgin olive oil can increase testosterone levels. One study of young men found that consuming 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil for 3 weeks boosted testosterone levels by 17%. Now, you should also know that only 2 types of fat are known to increase testosterone levels in the human body. One of them is monounsaturated fat, such as found in extra virgin olive oil and other sources. And the other type of fat known to increase testosterone is saturated fat, the same fat that is considered so evil. That and monounsaturated are the only 2 types of fat known to, maintain and help you produce testosterone. Polyunsaturated fat has no effect. Unfortunately, most of one thing to consider about, I can go on and on with all the various health effects. I mean, you can go to PubMed. You'll see there's hundreds and hundreds of studies about the various health effects of extra virgin olive oil, especially as it relates to cardiovascular disease. It is definitely a useful substance to ingest if you want to protect yourself against cardiovascular disease, because not only does it control low-density lipoprotein, but it also raises levels of the protective high-density lipoprotein. Now, the problem with extra virgin olive oil, which a lot of people aren't aware of, is that unfortunately most of the commercial extra virgin olive oil products are fake. In other words, they're olive oil, but they're either low-grade olive oil or they're virgin olive oil. They're not extra virgin olive oil. A lot of them just contain a mixture of various types of olive oil with very little extra virgin of olive oil. According to a recent analysis by the website consumerlab.com, the true extra virgin olive oils, according to the extra virgin olive oils that they analyzed a bunch of commercial extra virgin olive oils. The ones that pass the test, the one that actually contains the most polyphenols, surprisingly, is sold by Costco. and it's called Kirkland Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. This olive oil was rated #1 in this independent survey of commercial extra virgin olive oils. Trader Joe's Premium Extra Virgin Olive Oil also passed the test, as did a brand called California Olive Ranch Olive Ranch Extra Virgin Olive Oil. And when you purchase extra virgin olive oil, you want to ensure that it lists where and when the oil was harvested, and also that it comes in a dark bottle, since extra virgin olive oil rapidly degrades when exposed to light. Don't expose it to heat, don't expose it to light, it'll become rapidly oxidized. But on the other hand, the greater the polyphenol content of extra virgin olive oil, the longer it lasts. And you don't want to refrigerate extra virgin olive because it crystallizes. It kind of turns to ice in the refrigerator. But you have to keep it in a cool, dry place away from light. You want to make sure that the olive oil comes from either Italy or Greece. Those are the main places that actually produce true extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is produced cold pressed. There's no heat involved, and this is the reason why it contains so many more nutrients and polyphenols and antioxidants, because the other types of olive oil are more processed. There's some heat involved. It destroys these protective elements. I should also mention there's a phenolic compound found in olive oil called oleuropein. Oleuropein is the main polyphenol in olive oil, and some studies show it may block the accumulation of proteins in the brain that are the cause of Alzheimer's disease. These proteins are, for example, one of these proteins is called beta amyloid 42. And this particular compound, it's OLEUROPEIN, it will actually help to prevent the accumulation of abnormal folded proteins in the brain, which are thought to be the cause of Alzheimer's disease and also are involved in Parkinson's disease. So I think that's about all you really need to know about extra virgin olive oil. It's also a good cooking oil. But only at low heat. You don't want to use olive oil when you cook at high heat. It destroys everything in there. It's very good for low heat cooking. Of course, you can add it to salads. You can add it to various food. After doing some research on extra virgin olive oil, I bought the ones that are recommended as being true extra virgin olive oil, and I try and take about 4 tablespoons a day, since that's the amount shown to have extremely protective effects against cardiovascular disease. And I don't eat a lot of saturated fat, which, as I said earlier, if you eat a ton of saturated fat, you're going to negate a lot of the beneficial effects of extra virgin olive oil. So you want to keep your saturated fat fairly on the low side, maybe no more than 10-15% of the total calories you eat each day. But concentrate on the monounsaturated fat, such as found in extra virgin olive oil. And of course, you want to also ensure that you include omega-3 fatty acids as found in fatty fish, sardines, mackerel, salmon, that type of thing. Or you can take a fish oil supplement at a dose of at least 2 to 4 grams a day. So that's about it for extra virgin olive oil. I'm sure I'll have some anything that comes up new relating to extra virgin olive oil. I will include in my Applied Metabolics newsletter. And if you really want the most in-depth, concise, easily understood information on nutrition, food supplements, anti-aging research, fat loss techniques that work, ergogenic aids, hormonal therapy, and other topics, subscribe today to my Applied Metabolics newsletter, www.appliedmetabolics.com. Those who subscribe, I do have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics website. I do answer brief questions from subscribers only. It's as a service because I appreciate your subscription. And I also have a private Facebook page, which you will be invited to join as soon as you subscribe to Applied Metabolics. On my private Facebook page, every day I post new information about nutrition, exercise, medicine, and health every day. And I also answer questions on that Applied Metabolics Facebook page. And that, again, is exclusively open only to subscribers. So subscribe today and learn. I guarantee you, you will learn. I don't care what your level of education is. I include all 57 years of my constant study and empirical experience. It's all included in the newsletter. I'll tell you what works, what doesn't work. I'm not involved in any food supplement sales. I won't hesitate to tell you the truth about which supplements work and which supplements are completely useless. So that alone will save you a lot of money. I'll also tell you the truth about hormonal therapy, what, the dangers, the features, and so on. This is not a steroid newsletter. I don't discuss how to use steroids and that kind of crap. I'll leave that to the knuckleheads on those internet forums. I say knuckleheads because not a single one of those steroid programs are based on even the slightest bit of science. So since my publication is science-based, I don't discuss bro science in my newsletter. So subscribe today, www.appliedmetabolics.com. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. They're great. They're fantastic. I think I got my first dog about 20 years ago when I stopped writing for the magazines. So when I wrote for the magazines, I traveled all over the place. It wasn't possible to, it wasn't fair to have a dog at that time. But as soon as I stopped writing for them, I got a dog, and I've never regretted it. I've had several dogs. All of them have been my best friends. I mean, they're so loving. They're so great. My dogs treat me better than my actual human family ever did. That's something to think about. Take care.